marks the Hilula of the famous Baba Sali, Rabbi Yisrael Abu Khatzer. I thought we'll do a special edition. We can learn about some of the stories of the famous Baba Sali and more information within regards about him here. Because to mark the Hilula, I think it's appropriate to record another video. It's not the first video recorded, so hence why we're not going to speak so much about his biography, but more about a few phenomenal stories. So we know that he was known as Baba Sali, Rabbi Yisrael Abu Khatzer, born in 1889. I believe he passed away in January 1984. He was about 95 years of age. He was known as Baba Sali, that means praying father, I think, in Arabic. He was a leading Moroccan rabbi and was a Kabbalist and was known about various miracles through his tefillot, his prayers. And his burial place actually is in the Tivot, which is like, let's say many people will mark the Hilula in of itself. I think he was born actually on Rosh Hashanah, year 1889. And he came from the famous Abu Khatzer rabbinic family, which were great Torah scholars. Hopefully at one stage we will record a video with regards to the history of the rabbis, as well as Rav Yisrael Abu Khatzer, who we're speaking about today. There was also famously the Rabbi Yaakov Abu Khatzer, who lived between 1806 to 1880. There was Rav David Abu Khatzer, Rav Meir Abu Khatzer, lived I think between 1917 to 1983, also known as the Baba Meir. Rabbi Elazar Abu Khatzer lived between 1948 to 2011, also known as the Baba Elazar. Rabbi Baruch Abu Khatzer is a great rabbi. Nowadays, he was actually born in 1941, also known as Baba Baruch, and is the son of the Baba Sali. So who is he? He's a very, very famous rabbi, obviously a Kabbalist, also a spiritual advisor who operates in the spot, let's just say. And I think he was actually educated in Arfud, in the Tafilalat region of Morocco. I think he would spend a window of time in Paris, and in mid-60s he would emigrate to Israel, I think with his father. I think he would be involved in politics partly. Also, he was a deputy mayor at one stage of Ashkelon, and served on city council as a leader of the local Mafdal, if I'm not mistaken, National Religious Party faction over there. And yeah, very, very interesting. And just a very, very great rabbi here in modern day. And I think he's currently about 84, 85 years old. Very famous rabbi in Israel. Many people come to him, I believe, for brachot. So that's something very interesting to point out within regards to him. So he's a great rabbi. I recommend everyone, if you can, to get bracha from him, a blessing, and very famous rabbi. And the Abu Khatzer family, Rav Isaac Abu Khatzer, or Rav Yitzchak Abu Khatzer, lived between 1895 to 1970, known as the Baba Chaki. Rabbi Abraham Abu Khatzer, 1915 to 1973, known as the Baba Hana. He's the son of the Baba Chaki, respectively. And there were various other great rabbis inside the family. That's just to name a few of the great rabbis. So Baba Sali. So he, if I'm not mistaken, he was known as an outstanding Talmud Chacham. I think the patriarch of his family was a great rabbi named Rabbi Shmuel Elbaz. And the Babas, so I think going back to Rav Shmuel Elbaz, he was actually born, I think, in the land of Israel. And I think he lived in Damascus for a while. He would study together with the famous Rabbi Chaim Vital, if I'm not mistaken. It's reported over here. And I think in the book, the Shem HaGdolim, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azle, the Chida, describes Rav Shmuel as an Ish Elokim Kadosh, a holy man of God. And among Rav Shmuel Elbaz's descendants eventually moved to the city of Tafilalat, Morocco, where obviously the descendant Masud would become a great rabbi in the city. Masud's son was Rav Yaakov, who was known as Abi Yaakov. We mentioned that before. And Rav Yaakov's eldest son, Rav Masud, became an Av Bet Din in the same city. And it was here that his son, Rav Yisrael, was born, who we're speaking about today. We're going to explore a few of the highlights of his life. So Abu Khatzer family lived, I think, on a large estate, which included a yeshiva. Court of his father, Rav Masud, was located on the premises. I think his older brother, Rav David Abu Khatzer, studied by himself in an attic, reported over here, just using Wikipedia. While he was young, I think Rabbi Abu Khatzer was a very diligent Torah learner. Studying, began to fast. Do actually have to be there in this period at the moment, and After his bar mitzvah, he would enter his family's yeshiva, where the students, I think, would rise at midnight, for example, and recite Sukkot Chatzot, study Kabbalistic warning service, and eat breakfast, following an in-depth Gemara, Talmud study, afternoon prayers, and a Torah class on Halakha. I think it was in 1951, Rabbi Abu Khatser would, I think, once his brilliance was apparent, he was offered a chief rabbi of Lod's position, which he declined. He would move to Bacca in Jerusalem, where he would keep a low profile. He didn't want all the neighbors to make a fuss and know who he was. He was eventually, let's say, really, really sought after. Now, after the passing of Rabbi Ben Zion Meir Chai Uziel in 1953, he was offered the position of, I believe, of Rishon LeZion, but he would turn it down. And several years after his arrival in Israel, the news reached Rav Abu Khatser that Jewish life in Morocco had deteriorated at a high level, so he would return there to lead and inspire the community. By 1964, he would return to Israel again, and then this time settled in Netivot, a city obviously in the Negev, and received visitors from all over and gave brachot to every single person. He eventually passed away on the 4th of Shvat in the year 1984, 8th of January, and apparently his funeral was attended by as many as 100,000 people. So that's huge amounts of people we have to point out over here. Very, very interesting. So let's explore a few of the highlights of a few stories over here within regards to it. I think there's from a book called the Ma'aseh Nisim, which is of Rav Avram Mugrabi, if I'm not mistaken. He would give a I'm just using the Daf Yomi website, actually would point down some of these stories over here. So we will just point. I think the one time, a famous story that happened, there was someone named Yitzhak Tzarfati. I think in recent times, I don't know if still, he would live in Ma'ale Adumim near Jerusalem. I think one time while he was living in Beersheba, he had an important position in the army, or as I say, Chal Shirion. At that time, he would visit the Baba Sali on a regular basis. One time when he came to visit during the day, the Baba Sali invited him for a meal, which would happen in the evening. For that night would be the Hilula of one of the Tzaddikim. He told him to come with his wife. They came at night at the home with joy and left a babysitter at the house for the family to watch over his kids who were sleeping. When they reached the house of the Baba Sali, the rabbi was in the room. They waited a bit, and then the Baba Sali told his wife to tell Yitzhak Tzarfati and his wife to return immediately to the home without asking why. The main thing is they don't delay even 1 second. The man recognized well that the Baba Sali and immediately did as he was commanded. When he arrived back home, he was shocked to see that the gas was open and spewing while the windows in the house were closed, and it was very dangerous to stay there. Immediately, they opened the windows, woke up the kids and the babysitter in order to see if everyone was okay. The babysitter did not know how to turn off the gas properly, and thus, this was very endangering to everyone. Afterwards, they returned to Baba Sali, and he immediately asked them if everything was okay. He told them that he did not want that a catastrophe would occur because of him. That's one famous story, how he had this great insight. There's many, many stories with regards to him, but we're just exploring a few just using this website over here, friends. Now, another famous story, Maaseh of fruits. One time, I think, the author is saying over here, one time the author was sitting with Baba Sali and reading Mishnayot before him. Suddenly he stopped to this person and said, "Go outside, and immediately you will see 2 cars from the village of Yad Arambam. Tell Mr. Plony, as they say, or Mr. X, tell him to enter and bring his fruits. But to Mr. Y, tell him not to enter, not him and not his fruits." Thus, it was like the words of the rabbi. And the person told them the words of the rabbi, and the second man cried. The individual entered and told the rabbi that the second man is crying in distress, saying, "Why is the rabbi not accepting me with things I brought?" The rabbi would tell him back, "Tell him that when he learns to ma'aseh, to tithe his produce of the field, he will accept to enter him in his home." Now, friends, everyone, we're going to take a short break. We've got some more phenomenal stories just using this website. A lot of stories actually to give over. So just wait 1 minute. And anyone, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe to the channel as we are exploring some of the highlights of the famous Baba Sali, Rabbi Yisrael Abu Khatzer, a few more stories. We'll just say one more before I just take a short break. Let's say there was another story, which was actually, I think, came from Rav Nisim Amsalem, if I'm not mistaken, who would hear this specific story from an eyewitness who was a great Torah scholar of their generation. This Torah scholar went with his father one time, who was also an important rabbi, to visit the Baba Sali and receive a bracha. The Baba Sali invited them to eat, and at the end of the meal, he brought a tray of fruit, and the tzaddik told everyone to take from the fruit and recite a blessing over them before eating. The friend of the Torah scholar told him to take a fruit, but not to eat, since he is concerned that perhaps the fruit was not tithe. Not that he is concerned of Baba Sali, but rather on the helpers in the house. Perhaps they did not tithe the fruit. Thus he took 2 fruits and placed over them in the pocket of his jacket. In his jacket, his friend told him that he should be careful of what he does, for Baba Sali knows everything with the Ruach Kodesh that he's got, but he did not listen. Thus they did the Birkat Mazon and left the Baba Sali's house. When they got back home, that specific friend felt that something was burning in his jacket. He's put his hand in the jacket and in the pocket where he found, and behold, the fruits were like hot coals. And he was, let's just say, at that point in time, afraid that the whole jacket was about to be burned. He told his friend, I warned you not to do this. Go back to the tzaddik and ask him for forgiveness. He ran back to the rabbi, and before he could open his mouth, the rabbi told him, don't you know that one does not check from the altar and above, quoting Kedushin. Number 5. Why did you suspect eating from the fruits? Nevertheless, I forgive you, and the fruit has transformed back to being fruits, as they were. Be careful next time, and know that by me, everything is completely kosher. We're going to explore a few more stories in a minute, so just watch your space, and we're going to come back and take a short break. Hi, shalom, everyone. We are exploring a few stories with regards to famous Rabbi Yisrael Abu Khatzer, who was a great rabbi of yesteryear, here on this special edition over here, Marcus's Hilula, here on the 4th of Shvat. So, everyone, welcome to our community if you are here the first time. And happens to be a very, very important day here in the Hebrew calendar. So, much can be said within regards to him also. And don't forget, if you are new to the channel over here, friends, please subscribe to our community, as we have so much great content over here for you and for the whole of Am Yisrael. So welcome everyone, and please join at the moment. And absolutely amazing over here as we explore a few stories within regards to the Baba Sali. Now, it's a story about the Yetzer Hara. Now, it's titled over here, No Evil Inclination. So what's going on over here, friends? So when, I believe it was when the Baba Sali lived in Ashkelon, this is a famous place, he once told a person, this author, about his uncle, the great Tzaddik, Rabbi Yitzchak Abu Chatzera, who was the son of Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzera, that he learned with him, this individual learned with him for a long time, and they fulfilled the specific verse. 6 years he will work, and on the 7th year he will go out free. They secluded themselves for 6 years, studying Torah in holiness and purity, and they would go out at midnight to break ice in order to amass. From then they sanctified themselves so much that the rabbi said, he fulfilled like the words of King David, my heart is hollow within me. This is coming from the book of Tehillim, chapter 119, verse 22. And evil inclination abandoned him and already has no influence on them at all. He had an amazing memory in Torah as a result. When he arose at night, he would learn everything by heart until the morning. One time, this individual would sleep in the same sukkah as the tzaddik, and would arise at midnight and heard him learning the Idra Rabbah by heart, and he would pray at sunrise with great intention, and the Amida prayer would take him about 20 minutes, long time. So that's another very interesting story over here within regards to the famous rabbi who we are speaking about here today. So very, very interesting. And so let's explore now a few more highlights over here. Another story, it's actually titled as Wait Until After Shabbat. There was once another story this author would hear from a specific eyewitness. One time, a policeman came in the middle of Shabbat to collect a debt that the family forgot to pay. The policeman demanded the money. The family told him that the person who is supposed to pay is a big rabbi and will not pay it on the Shabbat under any circumstances. So the policeman did not care. He refused to leave the house until he received his money. Without choice, they told the Baba Sali what was happening. He came out of his room and asked the policeman to come back another time, but the policeman refused. When the rabbi saw that he warned him 3 times that if he does not listen to him, he will regret it, the policeman was over here adamant. After the 3rd time that he did not heed, the policeman froze in place like a stone statue and remained there until after Shabbat. Then the rabbi did Havdalah and gave him the money. This is a phenomenal story over here. Just how important it is to listen to such a great rabbi over here. And this is just the Baba Sali, one of the greatest rabbis without doubt, definitely in modern Jewish history over here. So that is absolutely phenomenal over here and amazing over here. So we're going to explore a few more stories within regards to the great Chacham. Welcome anyone if you are new to our community. So that's one thing I will point out about, and please don't forget to subscribe. Okay, now a story connected to bread. There was one time there was a big Kabbalist who would come with, let's say, a long beard in of itself. The Kabbalist would enter the house of the rabbi and begin to speak on various different Pirushim commentaries to the Etz Chaim, a great Kabbalistic work, and give explanations. The Rabbeinu blessed him, saying, Chazaku Baruch. When he finished and the Kabbalist left, when he left, the Baba said, he said to his son-in-law, Rabbi Yehuda, to bring the Etz Chaim. He opened the book and showed him that the whole explanation they heard now is the complete opposite of the words of the Etz Chaim. His son-in-law asked him, why did he not argue with him? The tzaddik answered, how can I embarrass a man who comes to me with such a nice beard over here? The tzaddik was very strict, meticulous on beards, and would generally not count in a minion someone who did not grow a beard, apparently. This is very, very interesting over here, friends. Another story. Again, another story over here. Half of Sins, it's actually titled. One time, he convinced a man to grow a beard. The man promised the rabbi to grow a beard. This was after Baba Sali promised him that on the day of judgment, in the world of truth, he will be forgiven for half of his sins in the merit of growing a beard. But the wife of his man did not accept this specifically, insistently The tzaddik sent a message to his wife that if she continued to refuse, he will decree that she herself will sprout a beard. The man returned to the tzaddik with his wife, and the tzaddik told her that he promises also to her that half of her sins will be forgiven for allowing her husband to grow a beard. So this is another phenomenal story. Greeting the Moshiach, the Messiah, over here. There was someone named Rabbi Reuven ben David who would serve as a rabbi of Ashkelon and was very close to the Baba Sali, would have a in-law who during her pregnancy became unfortunately ill with measles. As known, this obviously is very dangerous for the fetus, so she requested from the daughter of the Baba Sali, someone Rabbanit Sarah, to go with her to Netivot to ask a blessing and advice from the great righteous Tzaddik. They arrived, they found the Rav sitting with his face covered with his cloak. His daughter approached him, and when he asked why they came, she explained to him the specific intentions in of itself, and the Rabbi would told his daughter to tell her not to worry at all, and that she will heal quickly with God's help, and the baby will be born healthy and whole. This is what was said over. When he finished, he asked her where is her husband and why he didn't come. She told him that he returns from work in the evening. The Rav told her to tell him to come here immediately whenever he returns, for today is a very great day whereby Moshiach is coming here, and from there everyone will come out with him. Then immediately Baba Sali told his wife to prepare a big special meal in order, or let's say in honor of the Moshiach, who indeed came to here but continued on his way, for the generation was not yet fit for this. Nevertheless, they made a great meal in honor of the Moshiach, and Baba Sali did wondrous motions with his hands, holding a cup full of water to the rim. Everyone rejoiced together, let's say, enjoying in the holiness of the Rabbeinu. This story, I think, came from a son-in-law of the author, Rabbi Moshe, the son of Rabbi Yaakov Turgeman. And the author himself says that he remembers a few times when he went to Baba Sali, he told him, too bad you did not come a few minutes earlier, for you would have merited to see the Mashiach. Or sometimes the disciples of the Baal Shem Tov. It's very interesting. So another story with regards to supporting Torah scholars. Every Friday he would distribute tithe money to those that learn Torah. He would distribute this from all the income he received that week and gave to each person according to his personal situation. Obviously, either single, married, with kids, but there was never any need to tell him the person's situation. He himself knew all this and his own, and would distribute the money according to the person's need for the Shabbat. Almost every Friday he would go to the Yeshiva HaNegev to distribute money. So it's another phenomenal story over here within regards to Rabbi Yisrael Abu Chatzera. There's even more. There's just a few highlights. Okay, kosher money. This is another title of a story. As known, the great tzaddik, the Baba Sali, would sometimes travel to France, mainly to Paris, to strengthen Judaism, and whoever came to him would come out and strengthen, let's just say, from his service of God. Many who would come to receive a bracha from the Baba Sali would give him an envelope with pidyon money. Among those who would come, a certain Jew who was recognized as a tzaddik as well. He came to receive a bracha and left an envelope. The Rav was very meticulous to have this envelope placed on the side and not mixed with other envelopes. After some time, he sent his shamash, the attendant, to return the envelope to the owner, since he did not want to embarrass him by returning it immediately to his face. This would occur 3 times, I believe. When the envelope was returned a 3rd time, the man came to Rabbeinu, pained and sad. He asked for an explanation why he did not merit like everyone else, that the tzaddik accept from him a pidyon money over here. It's a very, very interesting story. So he, if I'm not mistaken, added that he also very much wanted Rabbeinu to come to his home. So Rabbeinu answered him that he is unable to accept money from him because he desecrates the Sabbath, Shabbat, and he does not accept money from one who profits on Shabbat. But he promised him that if he observes the Shabbat, he will accept from him the pidyon and will visit his home. So the Rabbeinu answered him that he is unable to accept money from him because he desecrates, obviously, we mentioned before. For that Jew, it was very difficult. He claimed before the Rav, the most of his profits are earned on Shabbat, and this will be without livelihood. But the Rav promised him that if he closes his business on Shabbat, he will have a good and abundant livelihood. the Jewish person decided to accept the words of the rabbi and also asked advice on how his repentance could be affected, let's say accepted, after desecrating so many Shabbats. So what was the tzaddik's answer, as he reported over, was a tough answer, for he instructed the man to throw out of his home all of his belongings without leaving even a shoelace, since all of them were purchased with forbidden money, desecrating Shabbat. Not only that, I believe he must not give anything as a gift to anyone in order to not receive even that cloak. That's what's actually reported over here with regards to him. Yeah. The Rav will bless him, give him an amount of 4 francs, and I believe told him to purchase a lottery ticket with 4 francs. The Jewish person went and purchased a lottery ticket, and later that day won the lottery prize of 200,000 francs. He used his money to purchase new furniture for his home. He then returned to the Rabbeinu and told him what had happened, but he said the amount is still not high enough to restore all that he lost from his house. The Rav took from his pocket another 4 francs, instructing him to buy another lottery ticket. Indeed, the man won the lottery a second time from his house. This Jewish person became a true Yirat Shamayim, God-fearing person, Shabbat observant, as understood, and Rabbeinu went to him several times. And the man served him with love, and he became very rich and gave tzedakah, charity, to all those people that sought after them, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's interesting. So, yes, so many stories are actually recounted over. We're going to take another short break over here, and then we're going to share just a few more stories over here with regards to the great rabbi. Hi, Shalom everyone. Thanks for being patient over here. And we are exploring a few stories with regards to famous Baba Sali, Rabbi Yisrael Abu Khatzer here on this special series. So let's talk about a couple more stories. An El Al story. There was a landing failure one time. I think it was on an El Al jumbo jet coming from the United States to Israel. There was several hundred passengers were coming for landing, but the landing gear was stuck and the wheels would not come down. All the passengers were in great danger.
for all efforts to bring down the landing gear would fail, and there was very little fuel left in the plane. People came and told the rabbi there is a plane with 500 passengers who are all in mortal danger. The rabbi secluded himself in his room and asked not to be disturbed. After 15 minutes, he came out of his room smiling and said the decree was annulled, and Baruch Hashem, this aeroplane would land normally. When asked why it took him, let's say, so much time to pray, he told Oba, I started to request mercy in the merit of my grandfather, Rabbi Yaakov, but I sensed that the prayer was not received. I asked in the merit of my father, Rav Masud, but again, I sensed that I was not answered. I asked in the merit of Rav David, who was murdered by Arabs, and he too was not answered. In the end, I told the creator of the world that I am prepared to give my own life to save the 500 passengers. Then I sensed that my prayer was accepted and the decree was annulled. The plane landed normally and all the passengers were safe in the merit of the great rabbi. This was reported over. It's on dafyomi.co.io website. They've got actually a special page with regards to stories of the tzaddikim. The bottle of arak, now story of the liquor over here. Another great story. One time, many people were in the home of the Baba Sali, and the rabbi told Rabbi Swisser to bring the bottle of hard liquor. After searching a lot, he found what the rabbi asked for, but the bottle looked very old, and inside were signs that the drink was no longer so good. The rabbi said, bring this bottle, we will cover it with a cloth, and with God's help, we'll drink from it. Thus it was that he poured to everyone from the bottle. They all drank and rejoiced. Afterwards, he took off the cloth from the bottle and saw that the amount was the same from the beginning. Interesting. Another famous story about the hair with regards to the story, I think, was told from a student of Rav Shokron, apparently, who had a student in a yeshiva who was 16 years old and still did not have any hair, not on his head, not on his face. And this bothered him, especially among his friends. And the rabbi decided to take him to great rabbi, Rav Baba Sali. When they entered, the Rav asked, what does this yeshiva student need? The Rav told the tzaddik that he has no hair and showed his head to Rabbeinu. The tzaddik said, if this is the only thing he needs, then hair will sprout from him soon. Amazingly, a month later, hair sprouted from his head and beard and became like all the students over there. That's another phenomenal story over here with regards to him. Now, interesting, let's just say there's a story for the prayer for the Jewish soldiers. So what's going on here? During the Galil War, I think in 1982, the great Baba Sali was very troubled from the situation. He would worry on the soldiers and pray for them that God would save them and they would return them to the house healthy and whole. And one time, a person came to him during the war, and he saw him making a gesture with his hands in several directions. Suddenly, he held out his 5 fingers with his hand as a man signaling to someone else to stop. And the person asked him, what is this? And was replied, I'm guarding the soldiers to not get struck by the bombs and bullets. He would tell me, look how God is saving them, but I did not merit to see it. And the person who wrote this heard from a soldier who was with another soldier in an armored vehicle, and suddenly a bomb struck the vehicle. The two succeeded in jumping from the vehicle, but Arabs shot at them from all directions. Then one of the soldiers told the other, let us sing the song Yodu Lecha Rayona, which Baba Sali actually composed, reported over. Maybe we will be saved in this merit. And thus it happened, and they were saved. After the war, that soldier who sang came to the Baba Sali, and just as entered his room, the Rav immediately told him, in the merit of the song I composed and that you sang, you and your friend were saved. We must emphasize, this is what the author writes over here, that this soldier did not recognize Sadiq, and this was the first time he visited him. When asked what brought him to sing that song, he replied that in his parents' home, and every trouble they had mentioned in the Baba Sali. They mentioned the Baba Sali and the other rabbis in the family, and were saved specifically because of this. So very interesting. Let's do one more last story and call it a day. Saving a life. One day, while the Baba Sali was sitting at a meal with many people, a specific Jewish person arrived suddenly with a large pickup truck full of boxes and of fruits and vegetables for the rabbi as he has done a few times already. He started to bring them into the house of the Baba Sali. But when the Rab saw the man entering his home, for some reason he became estranged to him and told him, "Who are you to bring me fruits and vegetables? Do I need favors from you? Please take everything and go home." Then the man was was confounded. This is what it says over here. His face fell from, let's say, humiliation and shame of the words of the Rab. He loaded back all his produce on the pickup truck and drove off to his home in great distress. On the way home, the Arabs attacked the area and a bomb fell straight into his pickup truck. But miraculously, the bomb exploded in one of the boxes of fruit and vegetables on the vehicle and thus was saved his life. After a few days, the man returned to Baba Sali to thank him for the humiliations which saved him. And some people there asked the rabbi how he could embarrass a Jew so harshly. Isn't he concerned to what our sages said? One embarrasses his fellow public, loses his portion in the world to come. The rabbi answered to this person that this man entered his home with the angel of death, and through the embarrassments he received, the decree of death was overturned, thus he was able to be saved. And regarding this person's portion in the world to come, in order to save a Jewish person from death, it is worth to forego even on the world to come. So these were just a few synopses over here, friends, of the stories of the Baba Sali. Marks his Hilula over here today. Very, very auspicious day. There's events all over the country we have to point out over here to commemorate this day of probably one of the greatest rabbis in the last 100 years, without a doubt. Rabbi Yisrael Abu Khatzera was also known as Baba Sali. Very, very popular name, and one that we've mentioned about here on various occasions before. And we did record a few videos, I think maybe 2 or 3, with regards to history of the Baba Sali and some of his great Torah works. It's something I would very much have to point out over here. So yeah, very interesting. And he was a great rabbi of his time. Rabbi we've mentioned about in great amount of detail, we must point out over here, friends. And we are a community, friends, over here. We are exploring life of great rabbis of yesteryear. And not just that, we also record videos on current events on the weekly Torah portion. We try and get everything. And we have a special inspirational speaker every single day to say over a share of chizuk on the community also. So that's something else that I would very much have to point out over here. And it's a nice area. I recommend everyone to look at least into this area in of itself. Beta, and very, very interesting. So friends, we were speaking of the Baba Sali over here. Marks his Hilula over here on the 4th of Shvat. Don't forget to light candles in the great rabbi's memory. And friends, we are a community here. We love learning about great rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of the specific rabbis we happen to be speaking about here on this channel today, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information of what you are thinking. And very, very important, let's just say, for us to know more thoughts and so on and so forth, and educate. So the Baba Sali, one of the greatest rabbis, without doubt, of the Jewish history. So please learn more about him. And if you haven't subscribed yet, once again, please, I'll appreciate it if you subscribe and join our community and learn much more. So have a great day. Thanks for watching and be well. Thank you, friends. Okay. Yeah, thanks.